Check. Entropy, order and chaos, the theme of this year's TEDx event here at AISG. But this theme doesn't really make too much sense, as it's a paradox within itself. How can there be order and chaos if the very definition of chaos is complete disorder? And yet, the puzzling nature of this theme becomes clear when looking at its broader meaning. Entropy. Entropy is a scientific term that describes the amount of disorder in a system, being used in the second law of thermodynamics, which states that entropy must increase with time. Therefore, this consistency creates a predictable pattern, allowing for there to be order and chaos. Now that we understand the theme of this event, we can begin to delve deeper into the topic of my speech. Up front, to me at least, this theme seemed to be connected to a clear topic. However, the deeper and more I thought about it, the broader I realized it was. When I first encountered it, I immediately thought of giving a motivational speech about the importance of embracing chaos. And yet, through extensive brainstorming, I understood that the theme was not just about embracing chaos, but rather noticing and experiencing both chaos and order in our everyday lives. Personally, I see this every time I go through an airport, an intersection of 1,000 paths. While I go my own way in hopes of reaching my own destination, other people, strangers, act in accordance with their own goals, creating an ever-changing environment fueled by individualism. And though the people I see when entering airports are always different, the mood and energy of the place remains the same as when I was last there, whether it was a week, month, or year ago, thus creating a place that is resistant to change. In other words, a place that is constant and uniform in its own chaos. Today, I want to share my idea of the constant entropy we see and will continue to see in the world around us, from the billions of people with their own goals and thoughts to the trillions of dollars moving around the world, and how the universe is stable in its constant entropy. When looking at bustling places like Times Square, Shibuya Crossing, places in which hold the movement of thousands of people, we can begin to see such uniformity. In the case of Shibuya Crossing in Japan, every 80 seconds up to 3,000 people cross the street left, right, or diagonally, in what's known as the Shibuya Scramble. During the crossing, people become like molecules, constantly moving in their own unpredictable ways away from their starting point, until the stoplights turn green and cars fill up the intersection, only for the same event to happen again and again and again. In this case, while there's chaos every 80 seconds, the predictability of the system creates order. In our lives, from the moment we wake up, we stray further away from the blank slate we had in the morning, only to go to sleep, resetting the day back to zero for a fresh start the next day. And though the events that happen each day are always different, there will always be another day to look forward to. From a scientific perspective, entropy measures the probability that matter and energy will disperse. When entropy is high, the probability of disorder is high. Likewise, when entropy is low, so is the probability of disorder. Because matter moves randomly and constantly, it is most likely to spread out somewhat equally. And yet, matter can never truly spread out equally because it is just too unlikely. Thus, it's impossible for there to be any order in our universe. However, somewhat puzzlingly, this fact creates a sort of consistency, leading us back to the theme of this talk: entropy, order, and chaos. Entropy, the probability that matter and energy will disperse, must increase with time, meaning that it is everlasting, creating order within itself. Now that we know how entropy creates order and chaos, we can start to ask ourselves a big question. Why does this matter? Well, I believe that being aware of this ever-changingness can help one be more mindful of what's happening around them. Going back to what I said at the beginning of the speech about how the theme of this event is not just embracing entropy, but rather noticing it. I think it's not just necessary, but important to, I think it's not just important, but necessary to both embrace and ignore chaos in our lives. Fully embracing chaos is an imprudent way to live because it would tempt people, Fully embracing chaos is an imprudent way to live, as people would not plan far ahead into their own future, since they would deem it unnecessary. Embracing chaos would mean accepting the challenges of tomorrow because they are random and unavoidable. However, this outlook on life does not hold up to the test of reality. Just because the universe is random does not mean what one does not affect it. We, as things that are made up of matter, are part of the disorder, meaning that our actions have consequences. Just like when a molecule hits another molecule, causing both molecules' trajectories to change. Therefore, simply embracing the monotony of chaos is a flawed takeaway from understanding chaos in our world. On the other hand, ignoring chaos is an overly optimistic philosophy, as it would tempt people into believing that they can control every aspect of their lives and future, leading to unnecessary feelings of stress and disappointment when things inevitably go wrong. So, how can we find such balance? Well, I believe the most important thing is to not focus on trying to make the perfect balance. Instead, you have to enjoy each day while planning ahead so you can enjoy the days to come. You have to work towards achieving your goals and reaching your ambitions while enjoying the journey towards success, since you can only experience it once. Furthermore, you shouldn't be scared of what future chaos will bring, because what matters the most is what you make of your experiences. You have to allow yourself to enjoy the good while being prepared to overcome the bad, because both are equally important. If one never experiences challenge, they'll never be able to feel accomplished. Similarly, if one is never sad, then how could they ever feel happy? To wrap everything up, we should not just simply embrace the uncertainty of the future, but should also plan ahead and work towards our goals in spite of uncertainty. A balance between playing it safe and living like there's no tomorrow is needed, not just to live a successful life, but to also live a happy and stress-free one too. In other words, we must live in the present while being cognizant of the future. In our lives, from the moment we wake up, So the universe is impossible to control, so sometimes it's better to surf the wave rather than try to clamber over it. Additionally, even if everything goes according to plan, where's the joy in never conquering unforeseen challenges or always knowing what will happen next? On the other hand, you must work ahead in order to achieve your goals, which can only be done by taking into account the probability of tomorrow. Therefore, you have to embrace the uncertainty of the future because it is necessary for success. So sometimes it's better to surf the wave now and when it comes, rather than while enjoying the chaotic time spent in the water. Thank you.